AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid! Who are your parents anyway? You heathen? Scoundrel? I'll send you off to a boarding school with manners like that. Throw your parents under the jail. Cassie Spazzali.
Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
Muso.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. J-Boy, Jake Crain will be here bottom of the hour. Colin Jeter, former LSU tight end, 1 hour from right now. Jeff Christensen, the founder of the Throw It Deep Quarterback Academy in Dallas, who had the LSU players with him this past weekend. He's going to be with us in hour number 3. Talk a little bit about his impressions of Sam Levitt and all the guys. So we'll do that coming up later. It's been a minute. Larry Holder, who decided to stop writing about the Saints and the NFL and start writing about trading cards, hasn't been on the show in a minute, but he decided to write about something that we care about. That's Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints, with Brees going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this weekend. And so we figured, let's bring old Uncle Larry back on the show. Hey, man, how are you?
Look, we're not going to talk about sports card grading. I don't even know who Drew Brees is anymore. What are we talking about? No clue.
What's interesting, I don't know how much you follow the show, but Terrio has gone deep down the sports card rabbit hole, and every Friday comes on the show with boxes of cards, and so we break these packs and we pull cards. And I think I got some good ones last week. I got like an of 10. I got an autographed Cal Ripken of 10, maybe. Some good stuff. Yeah, some good stuff. Yeah.
It shows you how deep that thing has gone because athletes all over the place, everywhere, are into this. I know we're not talking about this. I get it, but it's amazing how big this industry has gotten. I'm shocked that this thing has gotten so big, and that I write about it. Like it's insane.
All right, real quick before we get to Drew Brees, what do you think if someone wants to start buying sports cards as an investment hobby? What's the best piece of advice you would give them?
Buy singles. Don't buy packs. Don't buy boxes. Buy the cards that you want.
Okay.
Because you know what you're buying into. Otherwise, you're just taking a chance opening packs and doing that. So I would buy single cards of people who you think might go up. If you're doing it as an asset,
right? Buy
cards, single cards.
That is the opposite of what Terrio does. He comes in with a box every week, and we open up the whole box.
It's the thrill of the open. And it's like the lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Yes. But yes, I would do the opposite if I was. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Just saying.
When you were a sports writer covering games and such, you did cover the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees, who's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this weekend. You wrote about him for The Athletic. What was the inspiration?
Well, I was assigned to it, so that's number one. But other than that, look, I covered him for his entire Saints career. It's funny, I went back and I had not looked at this thing in probably 20 years. Just his first press conference with the Saints, and you have young Drew Brees and a younger Sean Payton and a younger Mickey Loomis. And I found it so fascinating the way that Sean Payton described Drew Brees. You could take the quotes of just leadership and preparation and knowing the game, and you could take that quote from 2006 and come to present day right now, and Sean Payton would say the exact same thing about Drew Brees. And it's amazing how much, and I don't know if he was just saying this just because they were putting on a brave face in March 2006 with a quarterback who had his shoulder torn up and a team that was basically in shambles and tried to bring some juice back to New Orleans in the franchise. But they were right. I mean, to believe in him, and it really showed that Drew believed in himself, and the results are what they are to this day. Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever play the game.
Yeah. It's going to be a great weekend, man, to see this celebration and to see Sean Payton introducing Drew Brees. Those two are forever bonded and linked for their time in New Orleans. What else, as you were combing back through this, more than a decade ago, jumped out at you?
I went back, looked at really the season that made him, the Super Bowl season, and you look at some of the big games that they had and the big wins that they had. And look, he took down Tom Brady, he took down Kurt Warner, he took down Brett Favre, he took down Peyton Manning. But the game that really stood out that season was one of his worst games of that season, and it was that game against the Miami Dolphins. And they're playing in the rain, and things are going awry, and it's sacked fumbles and picks, and things are still going bad. And then Drew Brees all of a sudden rushes in a touchdown right before the end of the half, dunks it through the goalpost. And then even after the start of the second half, there were struggles, interceptions, and turnovers. And yet after that, it was touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Defense helps. And then all of a sudden, they pull off this win and keep the winning streak going. I think that game was really probably the grittiest game of his career, where things weren't right, but then they were still able to win. And that obviously propelled the Saints. And to me, it goes back to there's a synergy always with Miami. And it's a video I shot and did with that was an accompany to my written piece, was about what if the Miami Dolphins had decided differently? What if the Miami Dolphins gave the okay to Wayne Huizenga and they signed Drew Brees? Drew Brees stays in Miami. Nick Saban stays in Miami. Drew Brees never goes to the Saints. Nick Saban maybe one day goes to Alabama, but he doesn't go to Alabama then. And then what of the Saints then? And it's funny, a backstory that I put in the video that I never wrote about, and it has to do kind of with what I cover now, and it's like these hidden memorabilia pieces. Like Randy Mueller, who was the GM of the Dolphins at that time, they made a Drew Brees Dolphins jersey. And they were having it ready to go for a Miami press conference. And then Huizenga listened to the medical staff and went with them rather than what Mueller and Saban wanted, because Mueller and Saban wanted Brees. And they always kind of get egg on their face, but it was more that Huizenga trusted the medical staff and went that route. They signed Dante Culpepper. Saban's gone in a year, and the rest is history for Saban and Brees, and of course the Dolphins still.
Do we know? So the obvious question: do we know where that jersey is?
No, and that's why it was a wild time when in 2020 when we're in COVID and we had this kind of story ideas across our athletic scope. Just off the wall stories. And so it was like, let's do some wacky stories. So I called Randy to see if they had that jersey, and they didn't have that jersey. So that's, I was just digging a story back then. And then instead I did a story on who has the ambush football, and it's actually a local lawyer here in New Orleans. So it kind of spun me into this wild world.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wait.
Yeah.
How did he get the ball?
So he bought it in an auction. Like, it went up for auction a year after that Super Bowl. They do an annual auction. It was through Hunt Auctions, and so someone bought it, and then the lawyer bought it off of someone else. But it's funny because I called Sean Payton for that story, and he claimed that he had it in like a back closet somewhere. And then I called Thomas Morstead, and Morstead says, "Don't get me cut, but that is total BS. I know who has the football." And so it's a local lawyer here in New Orleans who has the football.
That's fascinating. Larry Holder's with us from The Athletic. Got a great piece up on Drew Brees right now at The Athletic, with Brees going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this weekend. Do you have any other just sort of ruminations about Brees with this monumental weekend ahead?
I always just found it so fascinating because you know how monotonous watching practice is every day, training camp. Let me just tell you, I don't miss going to training camp practices. I'm glad I haven't had to do it in a long time. Let's just be frank. I know what's going on right now, and people are jazzed up. Great, awesome. It is monotony. But even when you watch Drew practice, it was like Super Bowl. Like, everything mattered. Every throw mattered. And just he would miss a throw and maybe have a bad snap or two in team, and he would launch his helmet and go ballistic. And that is like not the Drew Brees you would typically see. It just made it so much so that you knew everything meant business to him. And I feel like that's why the receivers around him, the tight ends around him, I think they lived up to that standard. And that's why you had a lot of these players like Marcus Colston and Lance Moore, and you could go on and on about receivers who weren't maybe these top draft prospects and were probably deemed nobodies until he started playing with Drew Brees. He made them better. Like, that's, to me, they strove for excellence, and you could see it in practice. Obviously, it translated to games. And as he's gone and you're seeing what happened once he left and the Saints offense struggle, you just saw just how much he meant to that team and what he meant to the people around him.
He's Larry Holder from The Athletic, our good friend who, by the way, how old is your child who's the shut up kid drop? Play it again, Muse. Hit it. You're a loser, man. How old's your son now?
He is a sophomore at Brother Martin, and I'm glad you brought this back up. Like, he has to shave and all and wear deodorant, and he's almost as tall as me. He's like probably about 5'10". And it's funny because the disciplinarian at Brother Martin High School was a loyal listener of your show and says he heard that drop maybe thousands of times in his life and never knew it was my son. And I'm good friends. And I'm good friends with him. We play tennis, and we've been good friends. And he never knew that until I told him that on like a road trip to Shreveport for a tennis tournament. We're on the same team, and I had to tell him that. And so, you know, if you want to get my son in trouble, you can call him, and he would know. So
good, man. By the way, as a Rummel guy, how did your son end up at Brother Martin? Shout out to the Brothers of Sacred Heart, by the way.
I live in Algiers, and the only kids that are going to Rummel from Algiers are trying to be taken away from Carr, probably to go play football. So that's just the truth of the matter. So my kid is at Brother Martin doing awesome. My younger son, I'm sure he will be at Brother Martin, and they barely know Rummel exists. Outside of Jamar Chase, that's about it.
That's so good. Thank you, Larry. It's great to chat. We got to do it again soon, man. I actually come on the show when Terrio's here, and we'll talk cards because he loves that. We'll find a way to work that in.
1,000%. Yes, I will talk some sense into him.
All right,
yes.
We'll do it. I would love to do it. All right, we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
All right, great talking to you, Matt.
You too, man. We'll see you. That's Larry Holder. It's After Further Review, brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson. Actually, one of the really cool things, there's a video up on their social media where Dr. Blake does a stand-up chat interview with a patient who traveled from out of state to come to the Williamson Eye Center. And you can have your checkups and post-op and all that stuff in your home. So if you're outside of Baton Rouge, it's worth coming to have your refractive procedure done here by the best And all your post-op stuff can be done back home. But if you want the best, you want the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoni.com. Okay, Jake Crain in 15 minutes from right now. We'll talk some college football. Really interesting tidbit today about the top coordinators in college football who could be in line to be head coaches. And I think it says a lot about the way Lane Kiffin's building his staff. I'll explain next at AFR.
AFR.
You want to feel your best? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help you do it. If you don't have ED, great. Congrats. I'm pumped for you, really. If you do, they can help. But this is so much more than just ED treatments. Hormone replacement therapy is one other thing that they do at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. And by the way, if you're a man on HRT and you're not at Goodwood, you're probably overpaying. They have the lowest prices, never any contracts, no membership fees, and when you do your blood labs every 6 months, they pick up the cost of the blood labs. They don't pass that on to you. Yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. But then remember also peptide therapy. They have dozens of different peptide options. And peptides, if you want to learn more, Gabe can walk you through it. Peptides are strands of amino acids that help your body achieve higher functionality of its natural abilities. So if it's cognitive issues, if it's ability to sleep better at night, energy, yourgoodwood.com. Looking for dinner plans tonight? Supper Club back open. I was there last night for a private whiskey tasting event. It was awesome. Amazing whiskey selection. Even if you're just popping off of work or knocking off of work, you want to pop in and belly up to the bar and enjoy a pour of a premium whiskey offering. They got it over at Supper Club. You want to have dinner tonight? Great. If you don't have a reservation, no worries. At Supper Club, open seating at the bar every night. Now, they're open Tuesday through Saturday, closed Sunday, Monday. But remember, even if you don't have your reservation, just pop on in. 14 bar stools, 7 bar tables. So you always got a great shot to pop in and have dinner there at Supper Club, even without a reservation. Great chance to maybe close some business, have a fun midweek date night, whatever it may be, or just, have a pour with some coworkers after work. Get on by Supper Club right there on Perkins Road near Blue Bonnet. Get your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy. We ride back and forth till we run out of light. Take it to the barn, put it up for the night. Climb up in the loft, sit and talk with the radio.
I'm glad you're rolling along with us here on the Tuesday edition of AFR. We always appreciate Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Jake Crain will be with us in about 10 minutes from right now. It's going to move a little quickly right now. But it's interesting that, at the start of a season, there's always this idea of what coaches you should be on the lookout for that could potentially end up being head coaching candidates after the season. And it's no surprise that both Blake Baker and Charlie Weis are going to end up on everybody's list to be that after this season. Because when you are a successful assistant, obviously, it goes without saying, you have Power 4 coaches that jump from maybe smaller Power 4 jobs to bigger. You have G5 coaches that jump into the Power 4. Then you have, obviously, Power 4 assistants, coordinators that can also become head coaches. And Pete Nakos has a piece up at On3 where he's mentioning some coordinators worth keeping an eye on. And no surprise that he mentions both Charlie Weis Jr. and Blake Baker. Blake Baker is a very obvious one because Baker turned down 2 head coaching jobs this past offseason with both Memphis and Tulane. Weis has not yet had, to the best of my knowledge anyway, even an interview for a vacant head coaching job. But the thing that I think was maybe the most revealing about Charlie Weis a year ago was all the acknowledgement from Lane Kiffin that Weis is actually the one calling the plays. Actually, during media availability back in April during spring, this is what Lane Kiffin said about Charlie Weis and his journey to LSU.
I love his story, guy didn't play, but then just totally invested into coaching. And yes, he has this great brain and this amazing IQ, but the guy grinds, man. He works at his game. There's never a year, even though we got all these top stats in the country, every year he still goes into every offseason. How can we do things better? What can we watch? Where can we go visit? I just love that growth mindset because that's what we want in our building.
Weis did have a brief separation from Lane Kiffin, but they've rejoined. He was there at FAU in 2018, and he's really developed into a top play caller in college football. Of course, his dad is Charlie Weis, who was the OC of the Patriots and then the head coach at Notre Dame and Kansas. So Weis is an interesting one to watch. And I think from my perspective, as I look at it, as long as Lane Kiffin is in place, and this is not in any way meant to be disrespectful of Charlie Weis, regardless of who the coordinator has been, everywhere Kiffin goes, offense follows. It doesn't matter if it was at Bama or as the OC, if it was at FAU, if it was at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is the central figure. It's like Nick Saban with defense. It didn't matter who was the defensive coordinator. It's not to be disrespectful to Will Muschamp at LSU or Kirby or any of the other DCs at Alabama. It's just Nick was the commonality, right? He was that central figure. He was the variable that never changed, and so the defense was always going to be great because they had a plan. Same with Lane and offense. So, listen, the fact that Lane was so bullish on keeping Charlie Weis when it looked like Weis might stay at Ole Miss, if you remember that whole thing right around New Year's, right after Lane came and he brought Charlie Weis with him, Weis was having some cold feet, and Ole Miss was pushing to get him to return, and LSU upped the offer. Charlie Weis was going to be on a $2 million per year contract, and they bumped it to $2.5 million per year to incentivize him to stay, and ultimately we know he did. He went back and called plays during the college football playoff run for Ole Miss. He was the one assistant that remained all the way through the semifinal game, the loss to Miami. But Weis will be a fascinating one to watch to see if you see a coordinator in Lane's offense make that jump, or if they're going to have to go out on their own somewhere else. It'd be an OC somewhere else to then maybe make that leap. It'll be interesting to see with Charlie. With Blake Baker, that one feels like a more foregone conclusion. And I think the move last week that we reported over at LouisianaSports.net of LSU hiring Kevin Scherer really illustrates what Lane Kiffin is doing and how he's building his coaching staff. Remember, Lane also added T. Martin. And you look at sometimes these roles and how they're fabricated, or how they're organized, and it's very obvious that this is something that Lane learned from Nick Saban and sort of stockpiling coaches to have them in the pipeline. Because think of it this way: if Blake Baker becomes a head coach this offseason, it's a reasonable solution or expectation. He passed on 2 head coaching jobs this year. Goes and has another great year with a veteran defense. Stands to reason there will be more opportunities. So if Blake Baker leaves, remember, he brought with him Kevin Peoples and Jake Olson. Okay? So if Baker gets a head coaching job, it stands to reason Peoples and Olson would follow him. That's not a wild assumption. So if you take Kevin Peoples, well, who's going to coach defensive line? Enter Ed Ogeron, who's the special assistant for recruiting and defense, who's probably going to work with some defensive linemen, but you have a plug-and-play defensive line coach waiting if Peoples leaves. You think about Blake Baker. If Baker does take a head coaching job, well, we reported last week that Lane added Kevin Scherer. And Scherer is a guy that's been a coordinator in the SEC at all levels of football, has been in the NFL with the New York Giants. And you've got Chris Kiffin as the co-DC and linebackers coach. But all that to say, you can see if it's someone like T. Martin on staff, who's been a play caller at Tennessee and at Southern Cal and knows Lane Kiffin and his offense, who's got sort of like an assistant role, a deep down level assistant staff role. If it's Kevin Scherer, if it's Ed Ogeron, all of these guys are stockpiling these coaches with a very clear intent of saying, well, if we lose a coach because of our success, we have a guy on staff that we could just elevate into that role that understands our personnel, our roster, our scheme, our talent, our culture, our everything. And so it's really smart and forward thinking. It's what Nick Saban did for years at Alabama, and I think it's pretty clear that's one of the things that Lane Kiffin is implementing here at LSU. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Relief Windows is a proud partner of LSU Athletics, so when you support Relief Windows, you know you're supporting the Tigers as well. ReliefWindows.com, ReliefWindows.com. Beautify the exterior of your home, lower your energy bills, making your home more energy efficient, increase your home's resale value. That's what installing these energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows does. ReliefWindows.com, ReliefWindows.com. Get your free quote. Remember, they never take $1 from you until they're done and you're thrilled. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows, proud partner of LSU Athletics. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review, halfway home here on this Tuesday edition. Jake Crain will join us here coming up after the break. Former LSU tight end Colin Jeter in about 30 minutes. Jeff Christensen, the founder of the Throw It Deep Academy, where the LSU quarterbacks and receivers were this past weekend. Jeff's going to be with us in 45 minutes to get his impressions of Sam Levitt and the guys that were there. We'll do all that coming up. Glad you're hanging out with us on AFR, powered by Sunshine.
AFR.
If you're a business owner and you're looking to be more efficient, one of the surefire ways to do that is to have the right people in the right jobs. Well, Glow Resources helps you do that. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. And I tell you all the time, it doesn't matter if you're here in Baton Rouge or New Orleans or wherever you may be, anywhere in the country or the world. Glow Resources helps businesses all over the world find the right people in the right jobs. Like, if you go to glowresources.com/careers, glowresources.com/careers, you'll see this list of all the job openings and availabilities that they have. Like, I mean, everything from Denham Springs and New Roads to Splendora, Texas, Belle Chase, Sanford, North Carolina. There's Salt Lake City, Port Allen, Gonzales, Port St. Lucie, Florida. I mean, just go down the list. New Orleans, Charlotte, North Carolina, Milton, Florida. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. Anyway, you can find it out. glowresources.com.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
One more teeny-weeny ride before I take her home.
Bunky and Below, you want a Deere, want a Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Appreciate our Tuesday show sponsor every single week here, sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. We are steamrolling toward the start of football season. A lot of places around the SEC will be open up camp on Wednesday, including here in Baton Rouge. Our buddy Jake Crain, Crain and Cone, good enough to join us because we missed him at SEC Football Media Days. Yo, dude, why don't you stick us with your brother who gets married during football season? Pitiful.
God, he's the only one who would get into the crate to get down there. No, man, you know, I love media days. Would have loved to have been there, but wife is, I mean, she's due Friday.
Amazing.
But she's measuring big. So, I love football. I love sports, but I love her and my kids more. So I can't miss that.
100% the right decision, man. We missed you there, but we're glad to talk to you today and pulling for you and your family and hoping for and praying for the best, man. I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I can't wait. Girl number 2. Where's the gun store?
Man, God has a sense of humor, huh? You.
Oh yeah. I'll have a softball team, dude. But hey, we're all look. Can we be scratch? Can we be scratch golfers? Daddy doesn't have to pay for college.
Okay.
I'll do the weddings, but not college.
There you go. That's not a bad plan. It's a good trade-off. Let them know that.
Sure.
Okay, so while you were gone at Media Days, or while you weren't at Media Days, the assembled media, who's always wrong, picked Georgia and Texas at the top of the league. That seems to be the consensus. You fall in line there?
Yeah, I mean, what am I going to do? Sit here and say it's a stupid argument to have Georgia playing Texas in the SEC championship? I'm glad they actually finally picked Georgia just outright one time after what's happened. But I tell you, Matt, and I say this, in all honesty, I'm trying to remember a year, and maybe you could argue last year a little bit, but not to this point, where so many teams I think could legit win the SEC championship game. I mean, I think there's at least 5 to 6 that could.
The conversation we had that whole week, Jake, is that there's 8 SEC teams that all believe they're going to make the playoff this year. And it's Georgia and Texas and Bama, Ole Miss, LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas A&M. All 8 of those teams.
Tennessee does. Tennessee thinks that.
Yeah, I mean, they were there 2 years ago, and they feel like this was a regression, but last year was a regression, but this is the year they get back. But even if you throw out Tennessee, 7, that's almost half the league that feels like they're going to get there, and they ain't all going to get there. So who do you think is out in left field?
Man, well, we're actually, it's funny. We started our true regular season predictions today, game by game. We had Alabama today. We're going to have Oklahoma and LSU tomorrow. I tell you, not to give too much out of the bag, I've got one team at 11-1, and I've got 4 at 10-2, Matt.
Okay.
I've got 4 teams at 10-2. The tiebreaker scenario to see who would play that 11-1 team, I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to have to, like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, put strings on a board or something. But, man, I can make a rational argument for all 7 of those teams that you brought up to be able to do it. Because here's the thing, Matt, they pretty much all play each other. All the top dogs, if you really look at it in aggregate, 80% of them play each other. So I'm to the point now where, but let me argue, and I'll say the common theme is if the O-line works out. I feel like I've said that more for SEC teams this year. Oklahoma, if the O-line, works out. LSU, if the O-line works out. Alabama, if the O-line works out. Even a team like South Carolina, if South Carolina's offensive line ends up just being good, they could be a problem. But, I mean, which corner do you want me to argue from?
Does LSU's offensive line work out?
I think they do.
Okay.
I think they do. I like, obviously, what they did in the portal, with Jordan Seaton. But I do think this unit, I look at LSU, not just on the offensive line, I really believe, Matt, this is going to be the most balanced from an all-3-phase perspective, which is how you win rings, right? You can win trophies like Jaden Daniels having one good side of the ball. You win rings as a team when you're balanced. I am trying to remember the last time I felt like an LSU team was this balanced. And like we say on the show, the teams that win the most and the longest win the most ways.
Jake Crain is with us, Crain and Cone. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. So I'm interested in that same vein, what you think about Ole Miss replacing Kiffin and Charlie Weis and bringing in John David Baker, who we don't know a ton about. It feels very, I've said here, Jake, that it feels very much like when Orgeron hired Jake Peetz. He was like, well, who can run Joe Brady's offense? Okay, Jake Peetz, bring him in. And it was awful. Now he had Max Johnson at quarterback, not Trinidad Chambliss. But what do you think of Ole Miss's offense this year?
Well, I think you bring up a good point. We've talked about this on the show at nauseum. Not enough people are talking about, Ole Miss kept Trinidad and Keewan, and that's great. That's great for Pete. That's great for John David Baker. But losing Charlie Weis and Lane Kiffin hurts. It does hurt for multiple reasons. One being that even though John David Baker may run a similar system or have some elements in it that are the same, the verbiage is going to be different. So either one of two things had to happen. Either John David Baker had to assimilate his verbiage, which is really hard as a coach because you've taught something a certain way for so long and called it something, or the players have to learn new verbiage in totality. I would guess the players had to learn new verbiage, but on the other hand, there is a little bit of a built-in advantage in that, yes, John David Baker has coached offenses. You can turn on the film and see what they run. You haven't called plays against them. And it's so different. As somebody that has called a defense in a game, it's one thing to look at the scouting report and the tendencies and what they do out of this formation, this personnel on this hash, 40% of the time it's this. It's another when you're playing the actual game because it's going in real time. So a lot of defensive coordinators probably don't have a great feel for the sequencing of what they're going to get. And then you throw in Trinidad and Keewan and some of the guys they kept. So overall, it is a net negative to me. But there are some built-in advantages.
Jake Crain is with us. All right, I'm going to tell everybody to go watch your Alabama prediction video, but you got them losing 4 games again?
Well, I had them making the playoff last year, and they made me look smart there. It wasn't beautiful the way they got there. It's 9-3. It's 9-3. I will say this. I've got them losing Georgia. I've got them losing A&M. I've got them losing on the road to y'all. And just a little sneak peek, I've got LSU 10-2. All right, one of the losses will be in Jordan-Hare, though.
So that is my Auburn is my surprise team in the SEC. And
oh, God, talk dirty to me, Matt. Keep going, please.
I think when you have the quarterback coach thing figured out, that eases the transition. And seeing Byron Brown in person at media days, I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, no.
That's a problem.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's huge.
Hey, you know who else is huge, Matt? Is Kamario Taylor.
I interviewed him. Yeah. He's skinny, but he's like, I think he's listed at 6'2".
That guy could be 400 pounds and look good.
No, not 400.
Well, then he can just get Ozempic, Matt. We can find some common ground here. But, hey, you believe in Auburn, though. What is believing in Auburn? Like, how many wins is that?
I think they're 7-5, but I laid out a path for them to go 8-4.
God, okay, 8-4 would be a surprise. That's pretty much what I got. 7-5. Just how far we've fallen, man. I tell you though, it's somebody's coming out of nowhere that nobody's given a chance. Whether it's Florida, whether it's Auburn, South Carolina, just something smells funny, Matt.
I have South Carolina 4. I have South Carolina 4-8.
Oh, 4-8. Shane's Gonzo. Welcome back to Oklahoma. Just walk around.
Have you looked at their schedule?
Oh, dude. Matt, I looked at LSU's schedule.
But Beamer their quarterback can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Beamer may not make it to November.
Well, they can't protect him. You got to stop bringing in Girl Scout Troop D17 to play offensive line every year.
Well, he also holds onto the ball too long, and he's inaccurate, and they're just not very good. And I don't think Beamer's a good coach. But to the point, though, with Auburn, this is 5 consecutive years they've lost 7 games, Jake.
Yeah, no, it's we need somebody with a staff to part a C or something at this point.
But my point is, if you go 8-4, that's a good bounce back after
for sure.
6-6, 5-7, 5-7
right now. I'll take 8-4, hot and ready right now.
I do agree. Auburn will beat someone they have no business beating. I hope it's not LSU in a spot where LSU is going at 11 a.m. at Jordan-Hare, where LSU's looking ahead to their open date than Bama, Texas.
That's why I picked it.
I can see it. I can see it. But I would take a loss if I'm LSU. I would take a loss at Jordan-Hare if it meant a win on the road in Oxford in week 3. Because the rest of the scenario you played out puts a 10-2 LSU with enough quality wins to be in the playoff.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, Matt, you know how this soap opera goes. If LSU goes 10-2 with Lane Kiffin, I don't care if they played a bunch of blind kids. They're getting in the playoff. Where the ball beats to let you know where it is. They'll be a 5 seed.
It feels like with that schedule there would be enough quality wins. But you look at Vanderbilt a year ago, you look at Notre Dame a year ago, you look at 10-2 teams that have been left on the outside looking in. So it's not necessarily a foregone conclusion. It's how the 10-2 looks, but how everything else around the country looks.
Well, hey, I'll say this too, just in case it turns into and this could happen, like a 9-3 LSU still fighting to get in. The minute y'all wax Clemson, y'all need to become the biggest Clemson fans in the world.
Yeah, I don't. Do you believe in Clemson?
I didn't say I had to.
I'm asking you. Do you believe in Clemson? Because I don't.
I believe that they could be an average team and go 9-3 in the ACC.
Okay. All right. At Jake Crain _ is where you can follow him on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. At Jake Crain _ We made it through the whole interview, and I didn't say you're the one who prank called Ed Ogeron.
All right, Jim Boy.
Dude, look, you know what? At this point, I think I might just prank call him. Double jeopardy.
Crain and Cone, subscribe on YouTube. If you don't already, what are you doing? You're messing it up. Crain and Cone.
Yeah, come on, man. Come home. But now, Maddie, appreciate you, buddy. And, wish me luck in these next couple days.
We will. Early congratulations, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, brother. See ya.
That's Jake Crain. We're brought to you by Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. Drink Evermore. Natural artesian water. Straight from the source. Louisiana product. Support a great Louisiana company. And by the way, even if you're outside of Louisiana, they have Evermore. It has national distribution. So go to the website, hit the little hamburger menu, the drop down, you see find a store, type in your zip code, and boom, it'll pop up the location nearest you where you can find Evermore. Or just order it online. 20-ounce, 32-ounce, 64-ounce bottles. I love the 4-pack of 64-ounce bottles. That's what I get. Choose whatever you like best. Evermore.com. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. All right, y'all, we're going to knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 2 when we come back. Buse will have Tigers in the pros. Former Tiger tight end Colin Jeter in about 15 minutes. Jeff Christensen from Throw It Deep Academy, who had the LSU quarterbacks and receivers with him this weekend. He'll be here in 30 minutes. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Watermark Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property in downtown Baton Rouge on the corner of Convention and 3rd. Beautiful property. Louisiana's or Baton Rouge's original high-rise building, the old Louisiana National Bank building. I actually learned our company, Guarantee, just celebrated its 100-year anniversary. And as we're going through a lot of the different documents and things that have made it through 100 years, Guarantee's original office in Baton Rouge was actually in that building, in the Louisiana National Bank building. So it's actually just down the street from where we are here on Government Street, and that's part of our original building there at Watermark. So it's this beautiful historic piece in downtown Baton Rouge. They've added so many modern amenities. If you need a great place to stay for the weekend or stay for the night, whatever it may be, you have an event you're trying to host, or you want to pop in and have lunch or dinner at the Gregory, do it. It's Watermark Baton Rouge. On the corner of 3rd and Convention, it's Watermark Baton Rouge. Love telling you about our friends at River Parish Contractors. Do amazing work and have for years. At River Parish Contractors, execution is more than just completing the project. It's delivering safe, predictable results through experienced leadership, skilled craftsmanship, disciplined project management. Today, River Parish Contractors is a full-service industrial construction company with more than 500 employees, dedicated estimating, project management, safety, quality organizations, and a 32,000 square foot automated pipe and structural steel fabrication facility. It's incredible. Their capabilities for maintenance, turnarounds, capital projects, civil construction, pipe fabrication, structural steel fabrication. They do it all. They do it better than anyone. It's River Parish Contractors. rpcontractors.com. rpcontractors.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
While I'm chugging along.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Colin Jeter in about 10 minutes, former LSU tight end. Right now, Mew, so has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
We got one more trade deadline move involving a former LSU Tiger. This one was reported after the deadline had passed, so near the last minute there. The Los Angeles Dodgers have reacquired catcher Hunter Fiducia. Of course, that's where Hunter began his career. Dodgers, our guy. Dodgers have some injuries at the catching position. They need a guy familiar with their staff. They call Hunter Fiducia. He's played in 60 games so far this year, 234 average, couple bombs, and 12 RBI. He's back where it all began with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ethan Fry put together a heck of a month of July in high A baseball in the Astros organization. He hit .375 in July, 4 homers, drove in 19. That was all over 17 games. It has been a great first full season in professional baseball for Ethan Fry. He's hitting .282. See if he can't get a promotion here late in the minor league season. That'd be pretty nice. Aaron Nola was on the bump last night for the Phillies. 6 innings, 3 earned. Really good stuff. 5 strikeouts. He got a no decision because that's how the Phillies do things.
Shocker.
But another good outing for Aaron Nola. That's 2 in a row. We like to see it. Alex Bregman.
Cali high!
No. He was DHing last night for the Cubs. Yeah. 1 for 5, his 22nd double of the season. He would also come around to score there, average .246 for Breggs. Doesn't sound like much, but considering where he started this year, that's pretty good here as we hit the home stretch of the season. Some WNBA here, Scone's favorite.
I'm an expert.
A savant.
when it comes to betting on the WNBA.
Yeah,
How did Otter do last night?
I got to add it up. 23 points, 16 boards for Angel Reese, though, a night ago in a loss. 10 of 19 from the floor. She also grabbed 2 assists. And then how about Flau'jae Johnson with the Seattle Storm? 25 points in the game a night ago to lead all scorers, 8 of 15, 3 assists and 3 steals. Both Reese and Flau'jae on the losing end, though. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. We talk all the time, obviously, about mold, and that's very important. That's mold remediation done right the first time. We live in the mold capital of the world. It's wet, it's humid, it's moldy. Got it. They can help. Spray their pads in non-toxic dry fog, get rid of that. But they can also help with odor. So think of you buy a house and the people had pets and it smells like the pets. Or sweat. You have a gym, a workout facility, and it just smells because of the sweat. Or smoke. You bought a house or a car that there was a smoker in there. Or from a fire. You want to get rid of that odor? This helps with that as well. It's Parish Restoration. Go to parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com to get your free quote at parishrestoration.com. I know it's all over the NFL, but it really feels like the NFC South has just been brutalized by season-ending injuries here to start the season. Nick Scorton from Texas A&M at Carolina, their first day of practice. Brian Brzee has been lost for the year. This report from Rappaport and Steve Weish over at NFL Network, Atlanta Falcons edge rusher Jalen Walker feared to have torn his ACL. He'll have an MRI, but was carted off. Second-year linebacker out of Georgia. He was a really athletic edge rusher playing that sort of outside linebacker spot, but it was an 11-on-11 play late in practice, went down, and they think this is an ACL. Had 5.5 sacks as a rookie last year and was supposed to be a big part as an edge rusher of this Falcons defense. So James Pierce, who was also a first-round pick in 2025, he was arrested on domestic violence charges back in February. Those charges were dropped, or will be dropped, excuse me, if he stays out of trouble. But the NFL could still suspend him for violation of the league's personal conduct policy. And so there's other players out there. Aziz Ojulari is another one they brought in for depth. So, but man, this is another big-time loss for an NFC South team. Jalen Walker feared to have torn his ACL. It'd be a big loss for the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, it's after further review. SportsCenter's coming up. We're going to get caught up on national headlines from SportsCenter. When we come back, former Tiger tight end Colin Jeter is going to be with us, and then we'll talk to Jeff Christensen next hour as well.
AFR.
Man, if you're knocking off of work and you're heading home, you can always pop into Rouse's if you need dinner plans for the whole family tonight. Rouse's does an awesome job with all their hot and boiled options. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. So cool that Saints camp is back, and we're seeing all the pictures and practice videos. The Rouse's patch on the Saints practice jerseys. They did that deal a few years ago, so it's awesome to see Rouse's supported there. But it's Tuesday, and remember, every Tuesday over at Rouse's is $5 Sushi Tuesday. So you can pop on in and get your $5 sushi of the select hand-rolled sushi for just $5 every Tuesday over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. If you're not into sushi, that's cool. I love their teriyaki bowls. Their Asian bowls, those are awesome. They got the hot and boiled kiosks. If you want seafood, they got that for you as well. And of course, you can go make your groceries over at Rouse's. 76 locations. Find the one nearest you at Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.